Walking the Fira to Ia trail is a highlight of visiting Santorini. We highly recommend it if you've got the time and energy. Overall, the trail takes you along the Caldera rim, which includes paved sidewalk in some sections and steep cliffside drop-offs in others. You'll walk through the villages of Fira, Stefani, Meravigli, and Ia, and it's possible to walk the trail in either direction. On Santorini, the word caldera is used to describe both the steep cliffside and the area of ocean created when the original volcano blew its top. The whole trail from Fira to Ia is just under 10.5 kilometers, or 6.5 miles, which typically takes between 3 to 5 hours, depending on how fast you walk and how often you stop. We've made an excellent trail map, plus much more detailed information about the hike that we link to in the description below this video. Now, before we go any further, know that everything you see featured in this video, plus in-depth travel guides to Athens and all of Greece's best islands, including Mykonos, Crete, Paros, Naxos, and more, plus leading destinations across Europe, including Paris, London, Rome, Amsterdam, and Lisbon, can be found on our site at santorinidave.com. Don't miss our great maps featuring where to stay in Santorini, best beaches, and best things to do, and you can find those links also in the description below this video. It's often referred to as both a walk or a hike, as parts of the path are a typical sidewalk, some parts are wide with cobblestones, and some parts feel almost like a remote wilderness. The vast majority of the walk is on a path without cars. However, there are brief sections in and to the north of Meravigli where you will have to walk on the road with cars passing for a bit. This part is only a few hundred meters long. If during your visit to Santorini you're walking between Fira and Meravigli, this is the same path as the Caldera Trail. This section is largely paved, and there's plenty of commerce along the path in Fira and Stefani. As you exit Stefani, though still paved, the trail opens up and ascends uphill to get to Meravigli. The trail through Meravigli is mostly flat, paved, and surrounded on both sides by hotels, restaurants, and small businesses. It's only as you leave the northern end of Meravigli that it begins to feel like more of a traditional hike. The trail begins to have some steep drop-offs down the cliffside, the businesses thin out, and the path transitions from combinations of broken sidewalk and cobblestones to eventually a rocky, dusty path with incredible vistas and a few small churches along the way. It's also in this area that the non-Caldera side of Santorini, the eastern side, is part of the view, and you can see out over the Aegean Sea. For this reason, closed-toed shoes or sturdy sandals are a good idea, but not required. Flip-flops are really not recommended if your plan is to do the whole length. There are long sections of the path without access to shops, so it's a good idea to grab a bottle of water the day before to take along with you, and a small backpack is preferable to carrying a water bottle in your hand for hours. In summer, you'll want to start early as it gets hot by 11 a.m., and it's mostly unshaded, so make sure to bring sunscreen. An umbrella is another great way to make the walk more pleasant on hot days. There are usually some people selling water bottles and fruit in small makeshift stands, but you won't want to rely on this. The trail is not a bike path. There's a good climb in both directions, with the most challenging sections in the long stretch between Ia and Meravigli. If you want to do roughly half of the hike, but not the whole 3 to 5 hours, we recommend to jump in for the more dramatic part, joining the trail from the road at Cavo Tagu Hotel, then walking north toward Ia. There's a bus stop here if you're heading from Fira to Ia, or you could be dropped off by a taxi. In Meravigli, Scaros Rock is also fabulous, and can be done as an addition to the Fira to Ia trail, or as an activity on its own on another day. From here, you're able to see and appreciate the length of the Santorini cliffside from a totally different perspective than you get from the rim itself. You can plan on the Scaros Loop taking at least an hour, beginning just to the north of Grace Hotel at a not very well-marked junction. We don't recommend climbing onto the plateau atop Scaros Rock, though some people do it. We do recommend visiting the small church on the far side of Scaros Rock that isn't inherently visible from the path above, but you'll see it if you're expecting it and is worth the few extra minutes round trip. In general, as you hike, you may sometimes wonder whether you're still on the path or not, as it's not always very well signed. It's hard to get really lost, Most of the time you can see the next town up ahead, and if you're walking in that direction, you're going to get there eventually. If you use Google Maps and then click on the walk icon, note that the route it gives you will be the most direct route that follows the road and misses some of the best views. Choose the path that does not match the road. If you're walking on the road with cars, then you're doing it wrong. You should be on a footpath almost all of the way. The main exception is the short stint in more or less the middle of the trail, where you do need to walk along the road for a short stretch. From June to September, the high season, return buses between Ia and Fira will be busy in the afternoon and taxis difficult to find. A good solution is to grab a taxi or take the bus in the morning before your walk starts and then walk back to your starting point. In the section between Fira, Firo Stefani, and Emeravigli, there are plenty of restaurants to stop at. Between Emeravigli and Ia, there are not. Santorini Dave is your #1 source for everything Santorini related, from the best hotels, restaurants, and beaches to our favorite wineries and Caldera boat tours. We also make awesome maps and provide details on getting to the island, getting around during your trip, visiting local villages away from the Caldera, and other great activities to enjoy. Thanks for watching.